What is the stupidest thing you have ever done to try to be cool?
Saw a cute girl as I was exiting an arena. Figured I could swing my legs over the metal bar instead of step over it like a normal person. Did not. Smashed my head into a large concrete pillar. Was not cool. Did not get the girl. Did become gay though. I don't know if that's related.
When I was 10, I was obsessed with touchscreen phones, iPhones specifically. I thought they were the coolest thing ever. I had an iPod Touch and I downloaded an app that made the iPod Touch ring and the screen made it seem like someone was calling you, and I bought a chunky case that made it almost look like an iPhone. One day I was on the tube with my mom and I set a timer on the iPod app, so after 5 minutes the iPod rang. I swiped on the fake lock screen and pretended to take the call. I was speaking to the iPod for about 3 minutes when my mom told me to stop being stupid as you can't take calls underground anyway. The train was packed and I've honestly never felt more dumb.
In middle school, the prettiest girl in the school, who happened to be my classmate, asked me in front of everybody if she's beautiful. I said no with a poker face expression and everyone laughed at her. She took it well and wasn't angry at me. But when I thought about it sometime later, I got mad at myself that I lied to her just to impress a bunch of kids. I feel like if I said I like her, I'd have a chance to date her.
When I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, I tried to be part of a chat where all the boys were saying yeah and cool and all that. I didn't know what the phrase meant at the time, so I threw in hubbu hubbu. They were all freaked and grossed out.
I was wearing a black top hat with a big stupid feather on it, and I tried to show off for my sisters and friends by jumping a snow machine and ended up landing wrong, busted the shock, and the track made a big farting sound as the paddles went up against the metal.
When I was in 10th grade, I baked dog shit cookies and fed them to a friend as a joke with my boyfriend at the time. This friend would eat anything and that was the joke. Turns out our intended victim had been out of school throwing up for the past 24 hours and still felt a bit queasy coming into school. He tried the cookies and didn't detect the dog shit. However, when we told him, he went to the nurse's office to throw up. He didn't snitch on me, but my ex-best friend who liked him did because she was mad at me for making him look bad. I was legend at school and no one knew it. People were telling me about someone who baked dog shit and fed it to a kid. I informed them that it was me. They would laugh because I was the quiet kid who never did anything outside of norm. I was hearing people talk about it in the halls. It was crazy weird. The principal later called me into his office later threatening me with bioterrorism. Self-preservation told me to lie. So I told him that I made it up and there was no dog shit in the cookies. However, I had thrown away the batch. He made me take him to the batch and he snatched them from the garbage. He wasn't sure what to do from there. Laws state he can't make me eat them. So he dismisses me and says he'll talk to me later. A few hours go by and he calls me back to his office. After a long and awkward silence, he informs me that he has tried one of the cookies. He says it did taste weird and that I would not be in trouble, not to do something like this again. I shook this man's hand at graduation. I have no idea if he was bluffing or not. But he did not study my face when he said this, so I assume he wasn't. Either way, that was definitely the dumbest thing I've ever done to try and fit in with my friends.
Way back when there was a cupcake table in my dorm's cafeteria and the cupcakes were only for people in some volunteer org. I thought I'd look cool by just going over and taking one, and I've never forgotten how nonplussed/disappointed my lunch friends were. Who thinks a cupcake would make them look cool? Me. I thought that. I will never go to heaven.
I swam in a freezing glacier lake because I had boasted that I could swim in every water, no matter the temperature. I really did some swimming because I did not want to admit it was too cold. The cold water felt like electric needles on my skin, and my heart started to do extra palpitations. Then I decided to get out.
Dyed my very blonde moustache with my wife's mascara. Thought I looked really cool, like a tangin. Went out to go to work, got the sun in my eyes, sneezed, and the moustache was all over my face. A quick walk of shame back home, on a sunny days in the city centre with people all of a sudden everywhere. Never again.
Try to fit a huge gum ball into my mouth because someone dared me in front of a boy I liked. Went in. So far so good, but I couldn't bite hard enough to close my mouth. Started salivating, panicking, choking, then I ended up spitting the gum hard into the boy's stomach.
I caught a bee in my hands at the age of 5 to prove that I was cool. I got stung and refused to cry. There wasn't even a girl present to impress.
In high school I had trouble socializing, and one day I was particularly down and lonely, and this girl came up to me, was very kind, very cool, and was a friend even though we only talked a couple of times. She refused to give me her name and socials. I think she was playfully being hard to get, maybe also trying to act cool, but would continue to initiate conversation time and again. 2 years after high school, I had my job at a local university, and she walked up to me while I was taking a drink break and said, "Hey, didn't you go to insert high school name here?" And without eye contact, as cold as I could be, I just took a sip of my drink and went, "Yeah, I remember you." And then she walked away. I was so cool. Because of that I can never apologize because I still don't know her name. She could have been a real friend for real, and I screwed that up cause I wanted to impress her. Regrets there exist.
I stole a cookie at the school cafeteria wanting to get caught cause I thought I would be cool. When no one noticed I did it again, and again and again. Finally I just turned to a friend of mine and told them I stole the cookie, and she immediately repeated it for the whole table to hear. One girl, who I did not like for a lot of reasons, said she was going to tell a teacher. I started crying as soon as she walked away. My friend convinced me to find a teacher before the girl could to confess. Maybe the punishment wouldn't be as severe. I got a weak ISS. The ISS teacher actually was my math teacher from a previous year, and he smiled when he saw me. He said, "Oh, I know this one." He was pretty cool and I enjoyed ISS. I hated having to go back to normal classes. I would probably have done stuff to go back on purpose if I wasn't so worried about my parents' reaction.
Did some graffiti on some cars to impress my bad boys classmates. I was kinda lonely at that time, used to be a very clever student but not a skilled social animal. Was isolated most of the time, so I tried to impress the popular guys. One of them snitched of me and I had to pay, literally pay, it. To this day I still feel the shame. In high school, I paid a girl $2 to call her beautiful. I had no idea how to talk to girls and made up some bullshit story for her about how some guys bet me $5 I wouldn't call her beautiful, so I told her if she'd let me, I'd cut her in on the profit. I can't begin to tell you how embarrassed I was after I gave her the money and walked away. No sense of accomplishment, only shame.
In middle school I had a group of friends who I sat with at lunch who I would describe as like medium popular. I had ambitions of becoming more popular cause the girl I had a crush on was in that crowd, and I just wanted to up my clout, I guess. I was friends with some of the popular kids, but not that close until one day they invited me their lunch table in the opposite side of the cafeteria where there was like a section of popular kids. Didn't give my regular friends a heads up, just moved lunch tables randomly. The funny part was I had to walk by my old table to throw my trash away. So every time I would walk by my old lunch table, one kid would speak really loudly the punchline of a stupid joke and the table would go absolutely ballistic, acting like it was the funniest thing they've ever heard. Still talk to my medium popular friends pretty much every day, and I'm 22.
When I was a kid, we were relentlessly made fun of for liking sci-fi and fantasy. Nerd, geek, dweeb, etc. I got to escape some of that as we got older, largely from being a D1 football player, but it wasn't until I had been out of sports for a while until I found myself again. I embraced my inner geek and nerd just before sci-fi and fantasy started getting popular for adults, and I really wish I had earlier. Lost literally all of childhood friends except a few who I reconnected with after college.
When I was in high school, 10 plus years ago, I had a huge crush on someone in my theater class. One day after a practice, the whole theater department ordered pizza, and while we were sitting around talking, the boy I liked took one of the whole jalapenos he ordered with the pizza and started eating it like it was a bell pepper. Everyone went, "Wow." So I walked up like the baddest bitch in the world, took it out of his hand, and took a big bite myself. Now, I have zero heat tolerance in food. But as the question states, I wanted to look cool, and I wanted him to like me. And I thought I could take a bite, turn on my heel, and walk away like a badass. But what actually happened is I took a bite, instantly started gagging, spit, coughed it up, and ran away crying. I still think about him from time to time.
When I was in 2nd grade, the teacher didn't let me go to the bathroom, so I peed myself. Somebody noticed some liquid on the floor, and they said it was probably the girl that sat next to me who spilled her tea and that it smelled weird. Everyone started supporting that idea, and since she wasn't that popular, nobody believed her. Sadly, I went along with everyone and blamed her. She was so kind to me before that, and she looked so sad that people were accusing her of this. I still feel horrible.
I brought a photo of my sister's friend to our school and said she was my girlfriend. My sister had just graduated the year before I was a freshman, so I assumed her friend had as well. I told several people we were dating and that she went to a different school. I got caught when word got back to her actual boyfriend, who confronted me in my 3D design class. I think he could tell I was just trying to be cool and let me off easy, but a couple of my friends roasted me pretty hard. The next day I actually saw the girl and her boyfriend walking between classes. I felt so dumb cause I had seen her a bunch of times and just never registered it was her.
When I was in 1st or 2nd grade or so, we had a playground that was adjacent to the road, only separated by a chest-high fence. One popular trend in the after-school program was to throw rocks at the passing cars. Don't ask me why, kids are dumb. Anyways, this went on for a few days with nobody managing to hit a car since 7-year-olds are bad at throwing and the cars were going like 50 miles per hour. Well, would you know it, I was the first one to succeed. It was a pine green pickup truck with a teal zigzag going down the side. As it whizzed by, I chucked the pebble and hit it squarely in the driver's side door. My friends and I rejoiced at my superhuman feat and we went back to playing on the playground. After like 5 or so minutes, I heard one of the aftercare counselors call for me. I looked over and my heart dropped through the floor as I saw the truck parked in the lot. Even worse, my mom had arrived at exactly the same, so 7-year-old me was shitting bricks. The worst part is that they just guessed that I was me since I was such a troublemaker.
In 7th grade I made friends with one of the popular girls. One day she asked me to supply liquor for her and some of our other friends and I thought why not cause I'm an idiot. One day she asked me to supply liquor for her and some of our other friends and I thought. In 7th grade I made friends with one of the popular girls. One day she asked me to supply liquor for her and some of our other friends and I thought why not cause I'm an idiot. I filled up 4 water bottles full of straight up Bacardi pineapple rum that I stole from my mom. IDK why I did 4 bottles, but I just thought that would be enough since I didn't know a thing about alcohol. But I ended up bringing it to school and getting drunk, and luckily I got caught before I gave any to my friends because I would have most likely gone to juvie. I made it all the way to my last period and then a girl in our friend group told on me. I got searched and the cops came and threatened to take me to the station, but my dad was able to talk them out of it. I ended up having to go to an alternative school for about 6 months though, and it was on my record for a while. When I got back to my school, the popular girl had moved and I was an outcast for getting in trouble, which later contributed to me dropping out of school entirely in 8th grade, and a lot has been downhill since. So I would say that's probably the dumbest thing I ever did to be cool, and it completely backfired and caused a chain of several other dumb things to happen.
Set fire to myself to try and impress a girl. Context: me and a friend met 2 girls in a club. Both seemed interested, so we headed back to his for more drinks. I had had a few, so in order to try and seal the deal with the girl I liked, who was incredibly pretty, I tried to prove how hard I was by spraying deodorant on my stomach, lighting it, then spraying that with more deodorant. The ball of flame off my stomach was quite impressive. I got quite badly burnt and she had to call me a taxi to A&E. Saw her once after that about 3 months later and she asked if I survived, then went back to her friends. Don't drink, kids.
Stole my mom's diamond earrings to give to a girl. Don't remember what girl it was, but my mom got them back. Made a V-Day card for a girl that lived down the street I had a crush on, and she had her dad walk back to my house to give it back. She was very nice to me after that though. Another is probably acting too cool to talk to anyone, hoping they'd talk to me. Spent most of my school life doing that, I regret it. Also started to overdress in high school. Thought girls liked a sharp-dressed man, didn't work. Now I know, it just takes confidence. But now I'm a confident guy who dresses very well, that's also a romantic. Still don't have a GF, but it's okay.
Thank you for watching. If you like to watch more of these videos, please leave a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share to your friends and family. I'll see you in the next video.